Ayubovan to you all, Dueputi, and I'm happily, pleasurely meeting you all after a little pause. And I'm back. I'm back with another beautiful session. That's grade 11. Science chapter number 3 is in front of you. The mixture is what we are going to talk about in this video number 11. And the lesson is going to be mechanical separation. It's a much easier subject, but you have to give a little concentration to understand what exactly is mechanical separation. Shall we get into the subject? That is a beautiful environment. This environment is very pleasure and serene environment, isn't it? A river is flowing and then there's a beautiful environment behind that river, which is a jungle, by the way, and there is a very rough land also. Okay, when we are walking on that rough land, I thought I can zoom a little and find out what exactly it is there. Now, if you are further identifying that piece of land, you can identify there are several things mixed there. Those are metals, mineral oils, salts, sand, clay, coal, minerals and rocks will be available in that piece of land. Now, sometimes you need to get that metal separated for your various purposes. And you want to get mineral oil separated for your various purposes. You need salt, you need sand, you need clay, you need coal, you need minerals and rocks for various other purposes. Are you agreeing with me? Now the question lies over here is why the components from mixture should be separated. Now I already answered that question because we need metals for our various purposes. Now, if you want to extract that metals, we want to extract using a methodology, isn't it? To extract the metal using a different method, we are using a separation method called mechanical separation. There are other ways of separations also, but mechanical separation is the separation what normally we all do in our day-to-day life. If you see very closely this video, you will understand a mechanical separation is happening. That particular person is winnowing. Now there another separation is happening. That vehicle is got a crane with iron and it is extracting the metals. The magnetic field is attracting the metals and it is getting separated. Now this is another very famous method of separating components from one size to another size. You see, now those particles are in different sizes and then that lady is using that particular strainer. Look at that. Right, okay, we understood the separation is happening over there and those are called mechanical separations. It is interesting to understand this image that every day-to-day life, your mom is making a cup of tea for you, right? And this is the method she normally probably using for you all to make cup of tea by using a strainer. Now, what is happening in this? There it is a separation happening. The separation of components in a mixture is happening. Here, the differences of their physical properties helping those tea to get into your hand with the strainer. When you're talking about that strainer, yes, definitely the separation of components in a mixture using the difference of their physical properties are known as mechanical separation. What kind of properties they're talking about? Densities of the components, particle size of the components, particle shape of the component, magnetic properties and electric properties definitely are coming into action when you are separating the components from one to another or mixture from one to another. Here the lady is using winnowing. What exactly is winnowing for? Removal of chaff from rice. You're eating the rice and this lady had done that one. That's the reason that, yes, you're eating rice without any chaff. Now, most probably you might have seen these winnowing fans in your houses. Now, here the difference in the densities of the components are coming to an action. Now, this particular activity is done when you are building a house. They're sieving. Removal of gravel from the sand. If you see exactly over here in this particular region, the sand is happening and you can see the gravels are over here, isn't it? So there also difference in the size of the component particles are coming into action. This is a smaller size, these particles. That is why the sieving method is used to separate the gravel from the sand. Here you can exactly find out what is exactly happening in this region. Now let's go and find out what is the next method, that called sifting. Now what is sifting? Removal of sand from the rice can be done by the sifting method. So here also the difference in densities of the components are taken into concern. The next one is a little nicer one, a separation technique in which a heavier component sinks to the bottom of a liquid and the liquid can be poured off. Now in this jar there is a mixture in which the sand will go down, which is a very heavy one. Silt will go a little above and the clay comes up. Like that the sand can be separated from this load of mixture. Now those are called floating on water method. So people used to do removal of dud seeds from the seed paddy using that one. Here difference between the densities of the components and water is used in the floating on water method. Now the next one is an interesting one, that is, you can see there is in that mixture there is something called gold is there, isn't it? Okay, you can see the much expensive gold is there. Now when they are extracting the gold from the ore, what they do is directing that into a stream of water will happen, right? Separating gold from ores happen in that way. Separating gold from ores are happening in that way. So here also difference in densities of the components are coming into part. Look at this image very carefully. Now iron fillings and sulfur mixed together. Now we want to separate the iron from the sulfur. So sulfur is not a particle which is attracted to magnet, but the iron is getting attracted definitely. So what they do is they can separate the iron from the sulfur mixture. So sulfur and iron fillings can be separated very easily using an magnet. So this is a magnetic separation. So separating certain minerals from mineral sands can be used with the magnetic support. So magnetic properties of the components is helping us to separate the metals from that sand. So you understood some amount of mechanical separation. There are other ways also. Now the methods such as winnowing, sieving, sifting, floating and subjecting to magnetism. Those are 5 methods that we learn that separate components of a mixture are called what? Mechanical methods. So methods such as these are frequently used in day-to-day life. You can see, roam around and look around how many people are using these kinds of mechanical methods of separation. Now, just think that a heavy load of a vehicle is going on the road and going with the sugar, and all the sugar is like falling into a sand. All the sugar is falling into a sand. Now you want to separate the sugar and you want to separate the sand. What is that you're going to do to separate the sugar and the sand? What method you're going to use to separate the sugar and the sand? Think about it. Yes, sugar and sand separation. How are we going to get the sand and sugar separated and help that lorry driver to save his salaries? Voila, think about it. Let's get on to the next session. Now for today, that's all. Bye bye and take care of yourself.